What a good chat. It is day 256. I'm currently wearing the at piece, as you can tell. Yeah. Um, I got asked about this hoodie today. I wore it out. I was grocery shopping with my grandma. Um, some guy had misread the text, and I like kind of corrected him. But I forgot to ask him if he actually likes the hoodie. That could have been a cool little feedback. But it's like some old dude, so I don't know how helpful that feedback would have, been for me, but kudos to that guy. Yeah. So this is day what? Yeah, 256. Um, didn't do much today. Just really trying to figure out what I could do for the brand today. I got my brother's camera here. Um, no idea what camera this is. Don't ask me. I was playing with it today, a little experiment. Trying to experiment, since I'm trying to get into the cinematography, photography kind of, industry or, whatever you want to call it. I only really kind of learned some things today. One, these cameras are expensive as shit. Two, I'm absolutely dog shit horrible if I hadn't already, established that. This was kind of the, you know, well, I don't even know the right analogy for it, but this was the final killer, you know, that conclusive, kind of full like, oh yeah, I really suck at this. It's not even, it's bad. I don't really know anything about compositions or, lighting and even how to operate the camera in terms of settings and whatever. I just know how to turn it on and click the fucking button. And obviously it was reflective in my skills because I took some photos of some random stuff in my room and it was absolutely horrible. You know, partially you could blame the environment and it wasn't in the right settings or whatever. But I'll just take all the blame for it. I'll just you know put that on myself. Can't hate the game, hate the player. Um, and so what I really decided was I could just make my brother take all the photos. He's a photographer kind of guy. Um, I could just give him. I can kind of alleviate some of that time and effort used to develop skills in photography. Never really had a passion. Obviously, I have an interest in it. I like, seeing photography. Like, I'm one of those guys who could walk into a museum or like a art gallery and genuinely have a decent time in there. Trying to just look at the significance of people's artworks. No matter the price or not, just wanting to see the significance and meanings behind it, and the stories behind it, because they do tell tales. I'm like, I'm one of those guys who would actually go in there and have a good time in there. And so, yeah, I didn't really, it's not that I don't like cameras or photography, but never took it to that much of a, interest to where I wanted to kind of pursue it as a hobby or whatever. So I thought, from more of a business sided mind, I could just alleviate that time and effort into something else that I could really use to develop. And instead, just hire somebody to take the camera work or do the camera work for me. The only guy I know is him. Um, I have the, you know, um, time to put in other aspects. What am I saying? I can, use my skills in storyboarding and kind of directing to kind of give him the outline and the premise of the whole shoot and give them that, direction. I simply guide the direction of what I want to be shot, and they just incorporate their own elements of technique and all that to get the shot, to maximize the effectiveness of the aesthetic. So I think that is a solid plan. When it is, due time to come to get start, shooting, hopefully, we can find some time to do that. But what I want to actually pursue is personal brand content. Yes, I will still be buying that DJI Osmo Pocket 4. The creator combo is like 1200. Definitely will be buying that. Um, so that is something that I want to pursue because that's more less about, trying to take really, good angles. Well, it obviously is still about composition and angles, but it's more or less about, trying to tell a story. I feel like cinematography or videography is a lot different to photography. You can capture a lot more, there's a lot more depth to videography than there is in just a static, taking stills. They're kind of their own ballpark, they're kind of their own game. And videography is something that I kind of like a little more. I always like those cinematic edits and whatnot, and I always preferred videos over photo shoots and stuff. So with the Osmo 4, hopefully I can find my own ground. Setting up static shots. Trying to use angles and composition. Because I feel like with photography, you're kind of waiting for the right moment, whereas videos, you're essentially capturing um, all of the moment. You know, so it's with photography, it's a little more precise, and you're trying to make sure that you can get the specific moment that is perfect because you only really get you know one good photo. But the video, you can kind of get the aspects of seeing it all together. It's like if you took all those shuttered photos and blended it all up into an animation, you get to see the bigger picture, the whole picture, understand more of the context. Um, I don't know, I just find it more fascinating. So yeah, personal brands, a little more catered to me as well. So I would definitely want to be, trying to pursue that in my own way. Not hiring anybody to do that. One thing that really interested me today was I was just watching YouTube while eating dinner, and I stumbled across watching. I've been watching Alvin Zoe films for a while now, but he's basically like goes around touring different high quality fancy restaurants and just basically making like short cinematic documentaries on them. And I watched the his Japanese omakase one, and as weird as it sounds, it was incredibly empowering. You know, I've never seen a man so devoted to his craft, and it showed me that art is kind of it's literally boundless, like I say, and it's shown in many forms. Like the way I saw it, it was more than just food. He was not preparing food, but he was quite literally like a paintbrush to a canvas, creating art. And he did it with so much love and passion. I see people who work these, corporate jobs and they just have no passion for it. And that's kind of the general stigma that I got from how jobs were portrayed. But I kind of forgot to look in the perspective of the culture where people genuinely have the passion for what they do, and not just because they have passion for the sake of working. Everybody, even these guys who still have this passion, they all talk about going home, getting sleep, being in their bed, but it's like the art and kind of the way of living for them and how uh, their soul embodies their you know field of work. It literally, quite literally, consumes them, and they do it. It's more than just themselves, and that's kind of like I watched a whole bunch of these documentaries. I don't even know if you call them documentaries. They're like literally like short films. It's so mesmerizing to watch. His crazy camera work and combined with these compelling visuals and narratives, and it is just so fascinating to watch. And I just wanted to, it was so inspiring to be able to have so much passion in your work and just doing it because you love to do it, and it's giving you a little reason to live, to get up in the morning. Um, like, I want to be able to wake up with that much enthusiasm to kind of get through the day. I feel like people who don't like getting up in the morning, aka, not morning people, is because, partially they lack that kind of enthusiasm to get up in the day. You know, they don't have that drive or purpose to, want to pursue the day and tackle the day, because when you have that hunger or that desire to just better your craft, there's no time to waste. You want to get in there, get into the lab, wherever it is you're trying to, practice. You want to get there as fast as possible and just get on with it. Um, and I haven't let the work consume me to that, you know, degree yet. But I know that once time goes on, I will be more consumed within the work, because right now I'm still just a little wee apprentice. But I know that once, time goes on and we start developing the brand even further, that obviously more and more of the work and the load, the pressure kind of comes onto me as the founder, and then I just, you know, have to pursue that, and that is truly my passion. So yeah, that's about it for today. Day 256. I'll see y'all boys in the next one. Peace.